We're good on the live feed? Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us here today. So the latest update we have in Jefferson Parish, we just wanted to tell you about the last-minute storm preparations. We were very, very busy today. But throughout this day, the threats of this storm have increased. The storm has continued to wobble east, bringing the threats of this storm closer to Jefferson Parish. So we are now expecting stronger winds, stronger storm surge, and of course, that brings the increase for potential flash flooding. We spent the day, as I've said, finalizing our preparations before Hurricane Ida gets to us. I was just in Lafitte today with Mayor Kerner. They were laying sandbags. I just got off the phone with Mayor Carmidel. They're finishing up their preparations. I'm happy to hear that many, many people have taken heed of the dangers of this storm, especially in Grand Isle, Lafitte, Lower Lafitte, Barataria, and Crown Point, and have left. There's been a steady stream of people leaving. But this remains my biggest concern of this storm, is that the people, especially in our outlying areas, in our lower lying areas outside of the levee protection system, that are staying. And I'm hearing about, couple dozen on Grand Isle, some in Lafitte. I want to reiterate, the storm surge that we are expecting is unsurvivable. It is an unsurvivable storm surge that we are expecting, and this storm is not supposed to pass through quickly. So now you have time to get out, especially in those areas where there's a mandatory evacuation. We need you to leave immediately. Public work crews have been out picking up debris, clearing catch basins, securing construction sites as we close in on the final hours of this storm. Obviously, we're facing a very, very difficult situation. So for those of you within the hurricane protection system as well, the evacuation window is closing upon us quickly. So if you are on the fence, you need to leave now. The best and easiest way for us to be able to save lives in this storm is for you to get out before the storm comes. So remember, most of the deaths from these storms come from water, which is storm surge, flash flooding, but also the secondary effects, and especially in Louisiana this past year, we have lost lives from the secondary effects from the storm. The improper use of generators, down power lines that were live after the storm, driving in all the other dangers if you drive in flooded streets next to canals, the fallen trees. And remember, the roads will not be cleared. They might be filled with water. They might be blocked by trees. First responders are going to get to you as quickly as possible, but the roadways may be blocked. But again, as I've said, in Louisiana, we have had deaths post-storm this past year. Fallen trees, generator deaths, and post-storm electrocutions, okay? So the secondary effects are just as dangerous for the storm. So remember to watch this frequently. This is a powerful storm, and a shift 20 miles east or west can mean a huge difference in the effects that we see and the devastating impacts that we feel. So for those of you who have decided to shelter in place, you need to be where you are for the duration of this storm in the next few hours, and you need to stay there. And remember, as conditions deteriorate, public assistance will be unavailable to you until the storm passes through. We have an excellent first responder community, but they will not be able to respond to you after the winds get very high. And always a reminder that we have COVID in our community, and you need to be safe. The medical hospitals, they're already filled more than usual, so we want to not bring them any additional work with anything that's unnecessary. Our fire services are prepared with their boats. We have 17 boats stationed on both sides, the east bank and the west bank, for search and rescue. Their motors have been checked. They're stocked with all of their safety equipment. Our fire stations are stocked with functional generators and saws and many other items needed to do a successful search and rescue. We are here at our Emergency Operations Center in Gretna. We are fully activating at 7 p.m., and we're going to remain active throughout the duration of this storm. And we're very grateful that the National Guard already has 200 troops assigned to Jefferson Parish, and they are already positioned pre-storm here in our parish to work with our police officers and to work with our firefighters and to be part of our first responder community. I know we have several nursing homes that have already evacuated some of their residents, several assisted living facilities that have already evacuated their residents, and the remainder are going to shelter in place. As a reminder today, our transit buses will stop very, very soon at 6 p.m. Our transit buses will stop. Also, as a reminder, our offices are closed on Monday. Schools are closed on Monday. There's going to be no garbage service on Monday. Today was garbage pickup day, so I haven't, in the neighborhoods, if there's still garbage cans out from today's pickup, make sure you secure those in your neighborhood, okay? Remember to call 911 for any kind of emergency. The number here at the Emergency Operations Center I want to give you as well, 504-349-5360. We have many agencies, all of our departments with personnel stationed here able to communicate for any of the needs our community has. And again, be mindful that there will be times that response may not be possible due to weather conditions. So if you are staying through the storm, you need to stay put. Do not venture out after the storm passes. Let's not be nosy. Let's not go sightseeing. Let's help our first responder community have full reign of the streets so they can make it safe, so they can engage in what they need to do post-storm. They do not need any additional cars on the street. And the sheriff's going to talk more about that. But we need to be partners with our first responder community and do our part. Okay, so with that, I am going to invite up our Sheriff of Jefferson Parish, Sheriff Joseph Lapinto.
For anyone that's still thinking about leaving, leave. You have time to do so. The traffic is clearing up in some places. Look at your route beforehand. You can get out there. But let's face it, accidents aren't planned. We've already had one today. Nobody plans on an accident. Nobody thinks anything's going to happen until it happens to them. Whether that accident is during good times or bad, they happen. Today's a perfect example of it. One of my deputies was hit on his motorcycle today by an idiot that can't drive. Unfortunately, his wife is already evacuated out of state. He's going to be stuck in the hospital for the next few days because somebody's got to be out there on the street. I don't want that to happen anymore. We've got 24, 48 hours, 72 hours by this storm passes. If you're staying, stay. Stay in your house. Don't get out. Don't go check somebody's freezer. Stay home so that way our deputies can do their job for the emergencies that they're prepared to do. They're risking their lives being out here on an everyday basis. If you're staying home, stay home. We don't need the cars out in the street. We don't need you running into a tree or a power line and us having to deal with it and bring you to the hospital and do all the rest of it. As I said, one of my deputies is going to be spending a few days who risk his life to stay here. If you're here, stay in your house. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. The next speaker is Joe Valiente, Director of our Emergency Management Services.
Thank you, Madam President, and good afternoon, everyone. So I just want to circle back on a couple of things that the parish president touched on. The EOC will be in full activation as of 7 p.m. tonight, and full COVID protocols will be in effect throughout the entire time that we're in this building. We're going to have a full house here, and we have to make sure that we don't spread anything, and certainly we don't catch anything. So another thing that I want to mention is that we've been in constant communication with our parish stakeholders, which is in excess of 120 different stakeholders, and we've been having parish leadership meetings every day. We will have another one tonight, because it's important that that they have situational awareness of what is actually going on and where we stand as a parish leadership. Last thing I want to mention is to circle back. Another thing that she mentioned, since 2013, the majority of all fatalities that have occurred as a result of a hurricane have been attributed past the storm surge, when the hurricane makes landfall. And I'll say this again. Last week, the remnants of Hurricane Henri in Tennessee, in Humphrey County, dumped 17 inches of rain in 16 hours, 27 fatalities. The flash flooding, the tornadoes are extremely dangerous. So to follow back on what she said, we don't need you driving around on the street during or immediately after the storm leaves us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. Our next speaker is Chief Administrative Assistant Sarah Babcock.
Good evening. As you've heard everyone mention here, the window for evacuating is narrowing. At this point in time, if you have medical concerns, if you are not able to live in your home without power for a number of days or even weeks after the storm, it is time to evacuate now. You need to take the storm seriously. As the parish president mentioned, we've had 4 nursing homes and 4 assisted living facilities evacuate over the last 2 days. All other facilities are prepared to shelter in place, as well as our hospitals. They will have extra staff on site, and they are ready, but they are full of patients at this point in time. All dialysis facilities have now closed and will reopen as soon as possible after the storm. It is extremely important for us to stay out of the hospitals as much as possible. We need to save 911 and our emergency rooms for people experiencing life-threatening emergencies. We have staged oxygen tanks for distribution after the storm. It is important to note that oxygen will not be available tonight. It will not be available tomorrow. It will only be open after the storm once things are starting to clear up. I am going to list these sites now so that if you lose power, you will have this information already. But please do not go there tonight or tomorrow. These sites are Fire Station 20 at 4110 Hudson Street in Metairie and Fire Station 81 at 808 MacArthur Avenue in Harvey. If you have oxygen tanks that are empty at home, please bring those to the fire station and you will get a full one at that time. If you have other medical needs post-storm, you can call here to the EOC 504-349-5360, and we will try and provide you with other assistance. It is important to remember that COVID is still with us. So we know many people are staying with family, you're staying with friends, maybe you've left the state. Please wear masks, even in the homes with your family and friends. Try and find separate rooms to sleep in and social distance as much as possible. Finally, I would like to mention generator safety. As you have heard here, using generators improperly will lead to death. Make sure you set up those generators outdoors, away from windows, doors, and air conditioning units. If you need to refuel the generator, please allow it to cool completely before adding more fuel. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. So today has been very busy. I want to introduce the Regional Director of our Southeast Louisiana Floodplain Protection Authority West. They have been very busy today, and the Board of Directors, Nick Callie and Scott Burke.
Thank you, Madam President. We have been working all day to operate our system. All of the land-based gates have been closed, and I would like to remind residents that that includes the Highway 45 gate. So use Lafitte-LaRose Highway as an alternate because that is no longer trafficable as of 5 o'clock today. Over the next couple of hours, we will continue to close our navigation gates. Once that is done, the system will be closed up and we will be prepared for the storm. We went to a full activation of our Emergency Operations Center at 6 a.m. today, and we will remain that way until the storm passes. So I encourage everybody to be safe, listen to your elected leaders, and look out for one another. Thank you.
Thank you. I neglected to introduce Arfine with the Deaf Action Center. Thank you for being with us today. I'm honored to be joined with several council members. I also want to say I've been on the phone with Councilman Marion Edwards and Councilwoman Jennifer Van Rankin today. All of them have been calling in, driving their districts, they and their staffs, anything that needs to be addressed. They have been communicating with us all day. So we have with us our chairman, Scott Walker, Councilman at Large for Division A, Ricky Templet, Councilman for District 2, Dino Bonanno, Councilman for District 3, Byron Lee, and Councilman for District 4, Dominic Impastato. And as I mentioned, I have been on the phone today with Councilman Edwards as well as Councilwoman Van Rankin. So with that, I will introduce our council chairman, Councilman Scott Walker.
Thank you, Madam President. And there's not a whole lot different for me to say today than what I said yesterday. The main reason that we are here is to navigate between you and a problem during and after a storm. So feel free to reach out to any of our offices. I know Councilman Bonanno and Councilman Impastato have been driving around today looking at what's happening in their districts. Councilman Templet has been in Grand Isle. We've been in touch with the mayors of Grand Isle and Lafitte to make sure that they have what they need. whatever Jefferson Parish sees from this storm, the brunt of it will be seen by Grand Island Lafitte. So this is something where they need our help now, and they'll need our help after this storm passes. So our eyes are on them. The rest of Jefferson Parish will certainly feel effects from this storm. Some places will see major effects from this storm. So if you see issues, specifically construction projects that Jefferson Parish is responsible for, let us know while we can still get people out to address those. That's happened all day today. We've gotten several emails. I know the other council offices have heard about it as well. There are a lot of construction projects going on in Jefferson Parish. We want to make sure that anything that can fly around is safely secured. If there are homes, construction sites that have loose debris around it, let us know about those as well. We'll try our best to get in touch with the people responsible for that on those sites. But the bottom line, get in touch with us. If you need us, contact any council office, specifically when it involves Entergy, Cox, or AT&T. We have direct contact with all of our representatives during an event like this, and they are very responsive to us, which is the reason we contact them on your behalf, and that's what we should do. So if you need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you all.
Good evening. I'd like to make a plea to the residents of Westminster and Lincolnshire that if you can leave, please leave. Historically, those communities have flooded at least 3 or 4 times. And so I'm asking for all of you who can leave, please do so. If not, please stay safe and stay home. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Dominic Impastato, Councilman for District 4 in Jefferson Parish. The area that I represent is predominantly Kenner and Metairie on the east bank of Jefferson. I wanted to make sure that our residents understand the 2 effects that are almost guaranteed that we will receive in those areas are loss of power for potentially a significant amount of time, as well as water in the streets. With the amount of rainfall that's expected, even absent flooding, we do expect a substantial amount of rainfall in our area. I can say in District 4, in the east bank of Jefferson, all pumps are operational. Not only are they operating, but all of our pumps in Jefferson Parish are manned, staffed, and operating. We have all of our people in place to make sure that all pumps are operating as expected, both automated and those that are manually engaged. So anyone concerned, our pump operators are in place and will be that way for the entire storm. That being said, you can expect, even with our pumps operating, it will, depending on the amount of rainfall, it may not be able to keep up with the amount of rainfall. So you can expect water in the streets. You can expect water to rise in those streets. Do not be alarmed that your pumps are not on. That's not true. They are. We are in good shape there. That being said, please be patient, and our pumps will do their job. Our canals will do their job as the water gets to them, and then it'll be pumped down into the lake and the river as necessary. So we are in the best shape the parish has ever been in terms of our ability to get the water out. That being said, you can expect to see the effects of it. As Councilman Walker said, please reach out to our offices. My cell number is 504-343-7327. Text me if there's an issue in your area. Call me, and we're happy to assist everyone in the public as necessary. God bless all of you and wish you all the best through this.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Yes. Hey, David.
So, Madam President, we heard at the New Orleans press conference earlier today about concerns about overtopping on the west bank of levees, that they're 10 to 12 feet, and the storm surge expected to exceed that, as we're going to see some overtopping. What is being done about that, and what are the concerns there?
I'm going to let Nick handle that, yeah, because he's, okay.
Okay. And I was just made aware of this a little while ago. There's some bad information going around because those levees have just been lifted. We completed a $23 million lift before armoring program. So every levee on the west bank of Jefferson Parish is at the correct design elevation and is armored. We completed that program last year, so somebody's got old survey data from before we lifted it. But I can assure you that everything we have on the west bank is at or above the design elevation and has been armored. In fact, the last section was just completed, was completed, and we're just waiting for the turf establishment. So everything we have is in good shape.
What height is that, do you know?
It varies depending on the location of the design elevation, but generally 14.5 to 15 feet. Yes.
What are you hearing from Interview Louisiana? American Trail said they've heard from Interview, but what are you hearing in terms of bringing in personnel and being ready for power outages and restoration?
Absolutely. Patrick Hamby was here yesterday. They pre-position assets ahead of time, and of course, we are expecting major power outages with this, so it will take some time. But we're in communication with them. They actually have someone embedded with us in the Emergency Operations Center, so they're going through all of those steps.
And earlier today, we were riding around on airline near Zephyrfield, saw lots of buses. Can you tell us what those buses are for, how they will be used?
Those are pre-positioned for after-storm evacuations, and my understanding is that is the DOTD buses at the Shrine on Airline. So that's state buses, just pre-positioning them in the parish for assistance for us for post-storm. Yes.
I haven't been out there in the last day or so, but was there scaffolding still on the causeway and airline bridge there? Is that any concern?
We're trying to secure all of our sites. I know that we had equipment out there, but absolutely, we picked up everything. In fact, some of the council offices even called us on some neighborhood projects that they were concerned about, but that's the things that our teams have been doing. I passed by there the other day. I don't remember seeing scaffolding, but I don't know what happened in the last couple of days, but anything that's projectile, that could be a projectile, has been picked up. Okay. Anything else? Okay. All right, everybody stay safe. Thank you very much, and please pay attention to us. Don't forget JP, you can JP alert to 888-777 or JP Noticias to 888-777 to get text alerts. Thank you.